We got to get into this game, man. Y'all know Caitlin Clark played small forward for the entire first half of the game, all the way until about 4 minutes left in the third quarter when the Indiana Fever were down by 9. The girl was playing small forward. Aaliyah Boston brought the ball up the whole first 3.5 quarters. This is ridiculous. This is malpractice. Stephanie White should be fired immediately. Fired is...
This may be one of the most devastating, painful, and unbelievably frustrating moments ever witnessed in the history of professional women's basketball. What you are about to hear is not some random rumor. It is not a wild conspiracy theory. This is a shocking reality that has now reportedly reached the public, and it could completely transform the WNBA landscape forever. The Indiana Fever franchise appears to be falling apart from within, and the situation is becoming impossible to ignore. We are watching what was supposed to be a championship-caliber team suffer a stunning collapse, seemingly because of the enormous and uncontrollable ego of one individual. If you believe the resentment surrounding Caitlin Clark was already serious, you have no idea what may have been taking place behind the scenes. And once you hear the alleged truth surrounding what really caused the Indiana Fever to suffer those 2 consecutive and embarrassing losses, you may understand why Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham could be seriously considering their futures in Indiana. So let's take a step back and examine the unbelievable sequence of events that unfolded on the basketball court this week. Throughout this remarkable 2026 season, the Indiana Fever were expected to become an unstoppable powerhouse. They possessed an elite offensive attack, led by Caitlin Clark, one of the most extraordinary point guards of her generation, capable of delivering passes from virtually anywhere on the floor while controlling the tempo from start to finish. They also had Sophie Cunningham stretching defenses, knocking down dangerous transition three-pointers, and bringing that relentless competitive attitude into the locker room. Everything seemed to click perfectly. The chemistry looked incredible. The fan base was completely invested. The arenas were packed night after night. Major corporate sponsors were pouring huge amounts of money and attention into the franchise. They were winning. They were dominating. They looked like one of the biggest forces in the WNBA. But then, seemingly without warning, just as the playoff race reached its most critical stage, everything suddenly and completely began to unravel.
Bro, Stephanie White played Aaliyah Boston at point guard for 3.5 quarters. I'm ready to lose my mind, bro. We got the best point guard in the league. Why is our center playing point guard? Meanwhile, Jonquel Jones was punishing her ass the whole first half. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, bro. Like, Kelsey Mitchell kept her streak going. That's all that matters around here, right? Kelsey Mitchell gets her streak. Yeah, that's all that matters. Indiana Fever lose again. Coaching blunder. This was ridiculous, man. Caitlin Clark, I can't make an excuse for you missing the 2 free throws down the stretch. The way we were down 3 or whatever we was down. I think we was down 4. We was down 4. You missed 2 free throws. I can't excuse. I don't know what's going on with you at the free throw line. I don't know. What I can say is, once we started to play Caitlin Clark style in the third quarter, when we play, bro, the second we didn't run pick and roll with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston all first half. We finally ran it toward the end of the third quarter. You know what happened? Caitlin Clark found Sophie Cunningham back.
The Indiana Fever walked onto the floor and suddenly looked like a team that had never played professional basketball together before. Their offense completely lost its rhythm. The spacing was terrible. The defense appeared confused. The intensity was nowhere to be found. And the team went on to suffer 2 straight humiliating and frustrating defeats that exposed a major problem, showing everyone that they currently look nowhere near prepared for playoff basketball. Fans inside the arena were sitting there with their hands on their heads in disbelief. Millions of people watching from home were equally stunned. Everyone seemed to be asking the same question. How can a roster packed with elite, generational talent suddenly look like it has forgotten how to play basketball from one night to the next? Then, this morning, a shocking allegation reportedly exploded across the internet. And if the claims are true, the details are enough to make anyone furious. According to the narrative surrounding the alleged leak, these defeats were not simply unfortunate accidents or ordinary bad performances. They were supposedly connected to a deliberate, calculated, and deeply damaging conflict involving head coach Stephanie White. Claims circulating from alleged insiders and purported locker room information suggest that White was extremely frustrated behind closed doors. The story alleges that she was angry because the media, supporters, and major sponsors were directing almost all of the attention toward Caitlin Clark's incredible playmaking and Sophie Cunningham's dangerous shooting ability. According to these allegations, White felt that her role was being completely overlooked, and her pride could not accept the idea that nobody was giving her defensive strategies the recognition she wanted. She reportedly believed her coaching system was being ignored, and she wanted to show everyone that she was the person truly responsible for the team's success. More than anything, the allegations claim that she wanted to prove she remained the unquestioned mastermind and had complete control over the direction of the franchise.
Real hard to do that. So we're going to do it, but I'm not the only one that's frustrated. I have a list of tweets here, and I don't even want to talk about this damn game. I have a list of tweets to read, and we're going to read these tweets one by one. Shout out to Jason. Jason said this rotation pattern is coaching malpractice. Caitlin Clark hits 2 straight buckets, finally gets into rhythm, and you immediately sub her out because apparently the rotation clock is more important than reading the damn game. Every single game, same predetermined substitution.
She reportedly made what could be described as one of the most unbelievably foolish, toxic, and fundamentally questionable coaching decisions in basketball. In what the narrative portrays as an act of complete sabotage, Stephanie White allegedly took the ball out of the hands of one of the league's most dominant playmakers. She shifted Caitlin Clark into the small forward role. Yes, you heard that correctly. The ultimate floor general, the player known for controlling the tempo, creating opportunities, and dictating the rhythm of the entire game, was suddenly pushed away from her natural role and toward the corner as a spot-up shooter. According to the allegations, Coach White effectively reduced Caitlin Clark, arguably one of the WNBA's biggest offensive and economic forces, to nothing more than a third scoring option on the court.
That close. They clinched last night with a loss from another team, and they said, we could take our foot off the gas. They saw themselves climbing in the standings, and over these last 2 games, they said, we could take our foot off the gas. Stephanie White said, okay, we got our playoff berth wrapped up. We're good here. Not sure what it is. A lot of questions still surrounding this team. What's their mental toughness like? It seems like we luck into these wins against in these close games. It doesn't seem like we really out-muscle or out-grit a team. You just kind of, it either falls into our lap or Caitlin Clark hits a game-winning 3 against the Washington Wizards. It doesn't really seem like we outplay teams. It seems like our opponents fall apart. And today, the New York Liberty, they almost fell apart themselves. But they held on late. 109-102. Caitlin Clark moves into 4th in franchise history in 3-pointers made. 243, passing Brianne January. I know Brianne January is sick. And Kelsey Mitchell, 22 short games for Kelsey Mitchell with 20-plus points, extending her WNBA record. Now let's take a look at the box score. We allow 30 points in multiple quarters. We're not going to win like that. Now, I was told, Steph...
The tactical stupidity of this decision is almost impossible to exaggerate. It would be like taking the greatest quarterback in football history and moving them to wide receiver simply to make a statement. And the results on the court quickly became a complete and undeniable disaster. The team's offensive spacing fell apart. The transition attack disappeared almost immediately. And with Caitlin no longer operating as the primary point guard, Sophie Cunningham was effectively removed from the offensive game plan. Without Caitlin's elite vision and passing ability creating those opportunities, Sophie struggled to find the wide-open looks from beyond the arc that had become such an important part of her game. The Fever had essentially managed to neutralize 2 of their biggest weapons through their own coaching decisions. The Indiana offense began looking completely out of sync, almost like a junior varsity high school squad, and their playoff position took a serious hit in the process. According to the narrative, Coach Stephanie White was willing to sacrifice crucial games because of what appeared to be an enormous personal ego. She wanted to bring her superstar players back under control, but instead she may have made a potentially devastating mistake that could define her coaching future. She apparently believed Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham would simply lower their heads, accept the new roles, follow every instruction, and tolerate the treatment without resistance. She expected them to quietly surrender to her authority and accept what was happening without challenging it.
Roll, we cut the lead to 2 again. Just like that. Just like that. And then it's like, you bring back in Aaliyah, you bring back Kelsey, and we go back to the same old thing. It's just like, bro, I'm just sick of this coach, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago Sky beat this team tomorrow. Sydney Taylor's gonna be back. She's gonna go for 30 on them tomorrow. I mean, this team is garbage, man. We had the 3rd seed in the palm of our hand. By the time the playoffs come, we might be sitting in like 7th place. We might be stuck going to Golden State in round 1. And that means you're going to get bumped and lose in round 1. How embarrassing is that? If you're going to be playing this style, you'll probably lose to the Atlanta.
She could not have been more wrong. Clark and Sophie Cunningham are reportedly furious, and their frustration goes far beyond ordinary anger. They are said to be deeply upset by what they view as an obvious lack of respect. Both are fiercely competitive players who prioritize winning and competing for championships above nearly everything else. And according to the allegations, they understand exactly what they believe Stephanie White is doing. They reportedly see these decisions as a deliberate attempt to damage their careers, limit their production, and hurt the team's chances of making a serious playoff run. Following those 2 consecutive and embarrassing defeats, the 2 stars have allegedly drawn a major line that they are no longer willing to cross. Multiple purported locker room sources claim that the atmosphere behind closed doors has reached an explosive level, with tensions reportedly becoming almost impossible to contain. The alleged arguments inside the film room have supposedly become intense and extremely loud. Clark and Sophie Cunningham have reportedly gone directly to front office executives and made their position completely clear. According to these claims, they are finished with the situation and no longer willing to play under a coach they believe is allowing personal emotions to interfere with the team's ability to win. They have allegedly made it clear that they will not continue accepting decisions they view as unfair, damaging, or designed to make a point at the expense of the franchise's championship ambitions.
From first option, this game she went from second option to third option. Third option. They are running the ball through Kelsey. Sophie got sick of it in the 4th. Kelsey jumping at Sophie, one coming down the court on a fast break. Sophie said, screw you, here, Caitlin. Now, granted, Caitlin didn't make the shot, and I know what y'all finna say, you Caitlin Clark haters. But, John, Caitlin Clark missed 2 critical free throws. Maybe she missing them on purpose, damn me. Y'all don't want to give me the ball. I'm going to miss all the damn free throws. That's what I'm going to do. No, I don't know about y'all. I'm mad. I'm good regardless. Caitlin is good with or without the Indiana Fever. So I don't want to give a damn. I don't want to hear nothing about her missing them 2 damn free throws. Let's finish reading the tweets. Sick of this, man. Sick of this. Time again, we got to go through this. Ryan Loves Ball stated, Stephanie White is just anxious. Is just an atrocious coach. She has the best show on the planet, starting at point guard. And yet, we have to watch this boring motion offense trip. Caitlin basically has to force her looks since the set offense is to take the ball out of her hands. I didn't even want to speak about forcing shots. She forced shots against Dallas. She forced them again tonight. Caitlin Clark is a rhythmic player. She has to get in rhythm to play, to shoot well. And we ain't going to go over Caitlin points yet. I don't even know. I don't even remember how many damn points she got. I'm just so
Sources are now claiming that both superstars may be quietly, but very seriously, preparing to push for a blockbuster trade. They are allegedly ready to pack their belongings, walk away, and leave the Indiana Fever organization behind altogether. The idea is that they could take their historic talent, incredible on-court chemistry, and enormous worldwide star power to another WNBA franchise that would truly value what they bring. A team that would put the ball back in Caitlin Clark's hands, allow Sophie Cunningham to thrive, and give both players the opportunity to compete for multiple championships. The Indiana Fever would then find themselves facing an unprecedented and potentially devastating crisis. You have to understand just how enormous the consequences could become. If Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham were to leave Indiana, this would not simply mean 2 basketball stars changing teams. It could create a massive financial shock for the entire organization and potentially the surrounding market. The millions of passionate supporters who fill the arenas, purchase jerseys, follow every game, and contribute to enormous television audiences could follow them out the door as well. Social media reactions have reportedly made one message extremely clear. Wherever Caitlin and Sophie go, a huge portion of their fan base could go with them. The loyalty, according to this narrative, is not necessarily tied to the Indiana Fever logo itself. It is connected to the players. If those two stars actually depart, the Fever could be left facing a dramatically different reality. The excitement, packed arenas, and national attention could disappear, while television exposure and commercial interest could take a major hit. And most importantly, major corporate partners could reconsider their investment if the star power that attracted those massive deals is no longer there. Nobody wants to spend millions promoting a franchise that has suddenly lost its biggest stars and much of its national appeal.
Because Aaliyah Boston's hanging out the three-point line, so her height is fairly useless if we're not going to have her around the rim. That's offensively and defensively. And Jonquel Jones on offense takes Aaliyah Boston out to the three-point line. Now, I know she doesn't weigh as much as Aaliyah Boston, but Michaela Timpson's got some strong-ass legs. But anyways, we would switch and have Myisha Hines-Allen guard Jonquel Jones out there at the three-point line because Jonquel Jones is big, strong, thick, and fast enough to guard Jonquel Jones out there if she decides to put it off the dribble. And I like my chances with Michaela Timpson going up against Brianna Stewart in the post. I'll take my chances all day, every day. Lexi Hull, 0 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. What did we expect? She was coming off of a career game the other night. What did we expect? Aaliyah Boston, 22 points.
Stephanie White's alleged personal jealousy could ultimately leave the Indiana Fever isolated, financially weakened, and pushed far away from the center of professional sports. According to the claims surrounding this developing situation, WNBA officials and the Fever's billionaire ownership group are reportedly facing an enormous crisis and growing pressure behind the scenes. They are allegedly looking at a situation that could become extremely costly, and the urgency is rising with every passing moment. The organization now appears to face a critical decision that cannot simply be delayed. Do they remove Stephanie White immediately, end her tenure, and make a serious attempt to repair their relationship with two of the biggest stars in women's basketball? Or do they continue backing Coach White and risk allowing what critics describe as an enormous ego clash to potentially destroy the value, momentum, and future of a billion-dollar franchise? The decision could determine whether the Indiana Fever recover from this turmoil or enter an even deeper crisis.
Billings is horrible. It was a waste of $800,000. I don't know what the hell y'all paid her for. Monique Billings is garbage. It is what it is, man. Ty Harris stinks. Shout out to Myisha Hines-Allen. She came off the bench and played good. Michaela Timpson played good, 10.6 rebounds. Aaliyah Boston had 22 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. You getting $6 million. You getting $6 million. $6 million, and you getting 3 rebounds in 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, you got 3 rebounds. That's 1 rebound every 10 minutes. Aaliyah Boston, are you serious? How does Caitlin Clark have more rebounds than you? How does Caitlin Clark have more rebounds than you? You getting 1 rebound every 10 minutes. It's ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous, man. The Indiana Fever, just Leonie Feebage being back was big for the New York Liberty. Leonie Feebage had 20 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds in her return. She had a hell of a second half. She started shooting the cover off the ball from the 3-point line. Sabrina Ionescu had 12 points, 4 assists. She wasn't very impactful. 1 of 5 from 3. Jonquel Jones, 19 and 10. Brianna Stewart, 22, 8 and 7. She balled. But I thought Michaela Timpson battled with Brianna Stewart. I thought Myisha Hines-Allen and Brianna and Michaela Timpson battled their ass off down there. Aaliyah Boston missed the key layup, man. We could have went up 1. She missed the key layup. But at the end of the day, this falls on coaching, man. The head coach made the decision to play the center at point guard for the first 3 quarters of this game, pretty much. She decided to have Aaliyah Boston play point guard. Aaliyah Boston brought the ball up the floor more than anybody else in this game. More than Kelsey Mitchell, more than Caitlin Clark, more than Sophie. Shout out to Sophie, man. Sophie, you passed the ball to Caitlin and you knocked down a couple threes. Sophie had 10 off the bench. Sophie and Myisha Hines-Allen look like our only playable players off the bench. It just is what it is. This Indiana Fever team's not good, but Stephanie White made the decision to play Aaliyah Boston at point guard and play Caitlin Clark at small forward. I mean, this is a joke, man. This is a joke. Caitlin Clark is rushing shots.
The clock is running out. Fans are furious, and the entire basketball community is waiting to see what happens next. Now I want to hear directly from everyone watching this video. Go all out in the comments below and tell me just how frustrated you are by the claim that Coach Stephanie White moved Caitlin Clark to the small forward position and reduced her to a third option offensively. Do you believe this could be one of the most questionable and toxic coaching decisions we have ever seen in professional sports? And even more importantly, would you want to see Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham leave the Fever altogether and take their talents to another WNBA team where they could potentially dominate, while Stephanie White is left behind without her biggest stars or the same level of support? Make your opinions known in the comments and let your voice be heard. Because if the situation continues to escalate, the Fever's ownership group and front office executives will certainly be paying close attention to the reaction from their fan base. They know just how much these players mean to the organization and how quickly public pressure can grow. If you want the latest, most direct, and unfiltered coverage of this coaching controversy and the potential WNBA trade chaos that could follow, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Clark Fever Hoops right now. Turn on the notification bell as well, so you never miss an important update, because the moment this trade situation takes a major turn or an official coaching decision is announced, we will be here to break down every detail for you. Thank you so much for standing with us, supporting the players, and continuing to follow the story. Keep supporting the biggest stars in the game, and I'll see you in the next one.